Many people dream of returning to the home of their ancestors, Scotland. Last year, in 2025, I fulfilled a lifelong ambition and bought my dream home in the Scottish Highlands. I've made some incredible new friends along the way, and now, in 2026, I'm letting go of the past and building a new life for myself as I explore this amazing land. My name's Jason, and I live in the far north of the Scottish Highlands. This is my story. Welcome to the American Highlander. The sponsor for today's video is one that you've seen before, and they've returned again, Incogni. Now, you know my rule. I will not allow a paid sponsor onto this channel unless it's a product or service that I personally believe in. It has to be something that I genuinely feel you will benefit from. And I have turned down several sponsors as a result of this rule. But I stick to my guns, because that way you know that when I put a sponsor in front of you, I believe it genuinely merits a moment of your time, and Incogni definitely fits that description. They're a data removal service. And what they do is they go out on your behalf and they get your personal information scrubbed off the web so that data brokers can't go and sell it to malicious third parties. Now, I know that sounds like a bunch of word salad, but have you ever Googled yourself? And frankly, you've probably been a little amazed at just how much of your personal information is out there on public display. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, your name and address, that's bad enough. But there's a lot more information out there about you that you may not realize is just there for the pickings. I mean, as an example, there are well-documented cases of people gaining access to social security numbers and taking out massive stonking loans in somebody else's name. And you don't find out about it until it's already done and over with. I mean, imagine if health insurance companies knew what you were searching for online with any health concerns. I know that sounds dystopian, but that's actually happening right now. And people's health insurance premiums get jacked up as a result. And according to YouTube, most of my audience is my age and up, and that means that you have more assets to protect and you might be a little less tech savvy, which makes you a prime target for scammers and anyone else who might have malicious intent towards you. So go to Incogni, authorize them to go out on your behalf and get your information scrubbed off the web so that data brokers have nothing to sell to malicious third parties, because you really, really do not want malicious third parties to know your political affiliations, your orientation, your religious affiliations. I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? Over half of all internet activity today is artificial, and something like a third of that is malicious. And that number is only increasing. So, again, there's a reason why I'm recommending Incogni to you. Because you should, as a matter of course, have a service like this working on your behalf. Because scammers can't come after you if they can't find you, if your information isn't there. So go to incogni.com/Highlander. That's the coupon code, Highlander. and you get 60% off an annual plan. I strongly, really recommend you get started with this now, today, as in when you're done watching this video, go do it. Seriously. So, I think that's all for today's sponsor segment. Let's go ahead and get started with today's episode. I have a confession to make. I really dislike the phrase slow living. I dislike it for a couple of reasons. Firstly, because I think it's well-intentioned, and there are a lot of good concepts in that phrase that we're going to discuss in just a moment. But it can also all too easily be perverted into a grift. And that I dislike. And secondly, it seems like, more often than not, slow living conceptually targets a very different audience than me. I mean, when you think of that phrase, what do you picture? Because I know what I picture. I picture what I see quite a lot on YouTube, which is someone, usually a millennial female, cradling a mug of hot cocoa in both hands, while she's staring wistfully out at some beautifully lit garden meadow while some knockoff of Enya or John Tesh whale humping music is playing in the background. And I know that's a little sardonic, but it's also an element of truth, let's be honest. And I can't relate to that. I'm a guy. I'm a middle-aged, overweight, grumpy guy who's, my first jobs, I was a janitor and a bellhop and a security guard and a farmer. And I look at some of these slow living videos and my first thought is, what do you people do for a living? Because y'all can afford a lot more spare time than anything I've got. I mean, I do this plus a full-time job, and I'm very grateful, believe me. It's just, it targets a different crowd, and the reason why that frustrates me is because nobody really talks about the suffering that men go through. Not really. I mean, this is not in any way to take away from what women have to deal with on a daily basis. The constant pressure to look young and beautiful, and if you're assertive in the workplace, there's a double standard with how you're viewed versus an assertive man. Like, I get it. And I'm not taking anything away from that. But candidly, there's a lot more out there in terms of documentation and support and sympathy for what women have to endure, whereas men have a tendency to suffer in silence. And this has led to one of the most unfortunate statistics out there, that in the US and the UK, the leading cause of death for men under the age of 45, I believe, is self-harm. It's entirely preventable. And if you are a man raised in the Western world, you are taught that your worth is based and measured on how good of a provider are you. Are you taller, stronger, more fit, faster, more intelligent? Are you earning a higher level of income? Do you have all the status symbols that say that you can provide for a mate? Because if you don't, you're invisible. You're invisible. And you want to talk about double standards? There is a double standard for men who show emotional vulnerability. We learn at a very young age that that's a weakness and a liability. That even someone whom you love and cherish, only a couple of times in my life have I been really emotionally vulnerable when I've been in crisis. And my partners, I watched their micro expressions. I looked at how their reactions changed on their faces. I was being reclassified. I wasn't viewed the same any longer. It permanently affected those relationships. And you could state correctly that I should have chosen a better caliber of woman, and now I have, but these are hard lessons for men to learn. And slow living as a concept seems to all too often be packaged towards women, and there just isn't nearly as much guidance out there for men. So it's something that I want to talk about right now, because today I'm recording this Tuesday, 24th of February 2026. It is exactly 1 year to the day since I moved up here and began this new life. And it has been an astonishing, life-altering transformation. Becoming a homeowner, living in a place that, I mean, look at it. This is straight out of a Tolkien fantasy novel. And I live here. Achieving dreams that you've had since childhood. Actually making them real. Settling down in a place you want to be. Not constantly living your life, as Joe Straczynski once wrote, like a man late for an appointment, afraid to look back or to look forward. It changes you. And I thought I'd offer a few thoughts on what slow living conceptually means to me. Ironically, it does not mean a slower pace of life. I work 7 days a week. I take a few hours off on Sundays to watch all my favorite YouTubers, and then the rest of it is grind. 16 hours a day. That's my life. But I'm okay with it because it's leading me towards a destination that I want for myself. And that's the crux of it. How many times in your life have you looked at something you were told you were supposed to do? You were programmed from a young age. Do this, be this, think this, and you will be a valid and valuable member of the tribe. And you've had to eventually, inevitably, question that belief because it conflicts with your own inner compass. See, here's the trap. The trap is we are taught, go out, be a modern-day hunter-gatherer, be a good provider, and you will be a man. Except, while you're out trying to do that, the goalposts keep getting moved. It's led to, in the US and the UK, what's called a K-shaped economy, where in the US, for instance, half of all economic activity is now driven by the top 10% of the population. That means that on a daily basis, 9 out of every 10 people that you see are below the halfway mark. Now, it wasn't always that way, but it is that way now, and it's getting measurably, progressively worse. It's getting harder. The goalposts are getting moved. And it always seems to be, particularly home ownership, just tantalizingly beyond your grasp. Your fingertips can brush it, but you can never quite get there. And I know what that pain is like. I've had to save for over 30 years just to scrape together the down payment on my cottage up here. Living beneath my means, making some pretty ridiculous sacrifices, just to try to keep up with the goalposts being moved. And it leads inevitably to moments of real crisis. Nervous breakdowns, people being medicated, levels of depression that we've never seen before in society. It's all real. It's the sense that this modern world that we've constructed, with all of its wonders, and there are plenty of them, I'm old enough to remember the analog age, and I loved living in the analog age. There's certain elements of the digital world that are remarkable, such as this, what I'm doing right now. But there is a sense, backed up by hard data, that it's benefiting fewer and fewer people every single year. And this is a real problem. Particularly for us as men, because the cultural programming hasn't changed. It's still, you're a failure if you haven't made it. You're not good enough. And so slow living, to me, is when you reject the script that you were given and you start living life rather than life living you. You point to a spot in the horizon that could be decades away, and you go, I'm going there. Come hell or high water, I'm going there. And maybe that means you don't wear the fancy clothes. Maybe that means you don't drive the fancy car. Maybe that means you reject a lot of the things that society says you're supposed to do to show that you're keeping up with the Joneses. Because that's the trap. And inevitably, you get to a point in life where you go, is this all there is? Is it? Just running faster and faster on a hamster wheel? Leaping up to try to grab the bottom rung of a ladder that I can see being pulled up in front of my eyes? So slow living is when you say, I'm going to write my own script for my life. And you work just as hard, but you go after the things that matter to you. If the place that you're in is not aligned with where you want to be, you plan to get out of there, and you work towards that goal. If you're with a partner that is destroying your peace, where the goals are not aligned, you change partners. If you have family members that are tearing you down, trust me, I know all about that one. Hi, Dad. You know what you do? You cut them like cancer out of your life. And you achieve a life that you want, where critically you wake up each day and you're grateful to be alive. One of the greatest silent tragedies how many people, especially men, are sitting in a traffic jam right now, staring out the windshield, looking at all the concrete around them, thinking, you know what, maybe everyone would be better off if I just weren't here. I know what that feels like. I thought that every day for decades. And so, my message to you is that slow living is when you live a life of your own design. You live according to your own goalposts for what success is, what happiness is, what fulfillment is. And you remove anything and everything that doesn't align with it. That, to me, is slow living. Older people watching this, for the most part, have already figured this out. It seems to be something that you figure out in midlife, hence the term midlife crisis. Because you realize you're at halftime, or maybe further along. I don't know how much time I got left with this liver disease. Maybe 5 years. I don't know. But whether it's 5 years or 50 years, it's irrelevant. There are more yesterdays than there are tomorrows. And it puts a lot of things into focus. And so if you're younger than me watching this, or if you're my age or older, but you haven't yet gotten to where you want to be yet in life, stay the course. Stay in the fight. Keep grinding, but grind towards what you want to achieve. So that you can do on a daily basis something that actually fulfills you. I'm 45 years old, gonna be 46 in a few months. It's a Tuesday afternoon, it's a work day, and this is my office. It took me a long time to earn it. But six-year-old me sitting alone on the living room floor earned it. And you can too. And you will. You will. So go do it.
So what have we got on the show this week?
For the last several weeks, we've been following my neighbor, George, the tree surgeon, as he creates a beautiful lover's bench from a piece of skibo oak. But today, George had a surprise waiting for us.
Oh, I've just broken it.
That was not the surprise. The surprise was a wooden bowl in his workshop. So this is actually a bowl from the cottage?
Yeah. Wow. So it's when Jamie and Kaylee had the place, took down a few bits for them, and yeah, just had a few sort of gnarly bits on it. I thought they look quite nice, and let's see if we can turn it into something.
That is a really cool bowl.
Yeah, we'll have to try and turn it into something useful. So I don't know. It can either sit like that, or it can sit like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. I mean, if I think we'll keep it like that, I'll round that flat bottom off a little bit.
How much more work do you think this one would take?
This will take quite a bit actually, because it's an indoor piece.
Right.
Yeah, you got to get all the tool marks out of here.
Yeah.
Which is the hard part. Because you're trying to scoop in and stuff, and also you got splits. Where the wood's dried out. So these can take longer than you think. People go, how much? And you go, well, do you want the actual real price? Or am I working at half money here? Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, but that bowl in itself, I mean, is the same price as the bench, time-wise.
Yeah.
Because
of all the labour that goes into it.
Yeah.
That's going to be amazing.
Yeah, but these pieces, they have to be to a standard in my head that it's like fricking glass, and I won't have it any other way.
Yeah. So if you want a beautiful bespoke wooden bowl from my property, my backyard, made by someone you've seen on this channel, drop George an email, and I'm sure you and he can work something out.
What have you done with your girlfriends, Bobbles?
And the crowd is going absolutely wild. Oh, and he just hits the post. Oh, and he's missed it. You've really got to feel for him missing that. Are you serious? And he's gone down, and that really does not look good. Oh, so close, but so far. And that's a beautiful save. Over the crossbar! It's happening! Goal! Oh, you beauty! How about that? That is absolutely astonishing. I cannot believe what I just saw.
For today's scenic drive, we're going to one of my favorite places in the far north, Glen Loth. This is just off the NC 500 between Brora and Helmsdale, and the Loth Road is pretty bumpy and torn up, so you want to make sure you've got a vehicle that can handle it. But my God, the scenery. It is one of the most spectacularly beautiful places in all of Scotland. And you'll probably have it all to yourself. This is the far north. time goes by faster with age. Because if you're 10 years old, 2 years is 20% of your total existence. If you're 50 years old, it's a much lower percentage. And days can start to blend together if you just do the same thing over and over. But if you're committed to the idea of living with purpose, and that purpose can be whatever you want it to be, as long as it gives you some fulfillment, where you can go, you know what, I'm glad I exist. I'm glad I'm here. That, to me, is slow living. Because trust me, I've done the alternative. I have lived fast. And it's fun, and it's loud, and it's very bright, and very wildly colored, and it spins you around and turns you upside down and inside out, and it's fun for a while. But it's all too easy to lose yourself. Slow living, as far as I'm concerned, is living your life on your own terms and making a point to really enjoy each day. Because today, it is a beautiful day in the Scottish Highlands. You think I'm going to do anything today other than enjoy this? Come on. Enjoy it with me. Let's go. If your soul is calling you someplace, and it feels like the call of home, heed that call. Trust me.